Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Windy Ridge Apiaries. Today is September 29th. It's a Saturday, and you're looking at a view out, kind of a wet day here in Calgary, Alberta. And we're up here at the WAS and conference. WAS is standing for the Western Apicultural Society. And it's their 2023 conference here again up in Calgary, Alberta at the Great Eagle Resort. Very nice facility they have here for this. Just finished lunch, and we're gonna head on and take a quick walk through through past the food line first here, but there's nobody here right now. But we had some good salad and some rice pilaf, some pasta, some chicken. And see some of the people here doing that. But they have a couple of meeting rooms back here, but they converted one of the meeting rooms over to a vendor show here. So take, first of all, look through. Liquor and Hive. I'm guessing there'll be mostly Canadian vendors here, as we have.
These are from Sarasota. Yeah. I'll let you know if I get pretty diligent.
So are you ready? Or?
I am recording.
Okay.
I'm just going to run through here right now.
Okay.
Catch another one or two. I'll come back.
Okay.
We'll catch you in a bit. Thanks, Rich. That was Rich Morris from Broodminder. And we've been talking a little bit. I'd like to this part where you wave. Well, this is curious. Bear and bees. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that bear for biodiversity. Anyone here?
You're smiling. You look like a happy guy.
No, you're supposed to smile on camera here too. So.
They tell me I don't smile.
No, that's false. I see that smile there. Okay, we'll be back later to check everything out here. I'm just running through with them.
I'm always serious.
Me too. There's Kamon over there talking with some people.
Every scenario possible.
Saskatraz bees, huh? All right. All right.
That is us, yep.
All right. I'm just recording, so
Okay.
if you don't want to, be on camera, you can just
fine, yep.
cover your eyes. I'll be back later to talk to you.
Sure,
Just
sounds
kind of doing a run through right now. Bee boxes. Look at these styrofoam, polystyrene. Smile, wave. There you go. Happy pasta. We'll have to check this out later too.
Okay, go ahead.
Hive IQ.
It's a tool, not a.
But I'll have two of those in every location.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's Bee Mate.
It's a bit of a different.
So the difference in brood best temperature versus it's nice to find something made in the
Yeah.
He has books here. Smokers, Western Bee Supply. Where are you out of? Where are you out of?
Folsom, Montana.
Oh, Montana. Okay. Good. I'm from near Duluth, Minnesota. So.
Okay.
They let you across the border too?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Thank you.
Years ago, they used to make donaires. They were in a donaire business. They're Hungarian.
And here we have global panties. Is what we used last spring and fall. Very good stuff. Strong microbiomes. Microbiomes to add for your feed supplements.
Ours would be red for
Wave. Who's not? Use some of their products. They got up here Formic Pro and Bee Cozy. Looking good. Is that a fly swatter? Or?
It could be. No, this is a swarm reacher.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Stick this right in the swarm. Up
Sure,
there, and you
it's
don't need a ladder.
They'll just start climbing right on, won't they?
Right on. And then bring it
Excellent.
down and so this is all I'm selling is this little part here.
Sure, sure.
It goes on a
And you can
window
find
washer.
these at hardware stores, I suppose. And
window washer pole or
sure,
whatever.
sure.
But it's
And then you let your wife do it, right? So if it drops on her, and
hey, catch.
I'll be back later.
Okay.
Check it out. Thanks. 3D printed stuff back there. We've got some East Valley honey. So some looks like some frames and boxes. Looks like some nice stuff. They got #1 wood here. I don't see any knots at all. Okay. Well, we better get going here. Oh, and this gentleman. We can't ignore you. Just run around doing a quick video here. So wave. And are these your books or?
Yes, they are my books.
Okay.
I'm the author of this one and the co-author.
Co-author
of this
there,
one.
huh? Cool.
This book is everything you can see in a beehive with the naked eye.
Sure.
And there's no other book like it. We checked before we did it. It's aimed at adults, but it's written in 6th to 8th grade language level, and it's been
Perfect
checked
for me then.
It's been checked for scientific accuracy, so the pictures are clear and sharp and large, and the pointers
nice.
tell you where in the picture you're supposed to look, which a lot of pictures don't, and so that's the way that works. Okay, so it's great if you're a beekeeper and don't know much about bees. It's great if you talk to non-beekeepers about bees because you can show them, and if you're not a beekeeper but interested, then it's something.
Something to start. You helped you break into it. At least. Are you Maryland
Yeah.
native or?
No, not a native. I grew up in Vermont, so close to the Canadian border that my neighbors all spoke French. and we joked that AM radio stood for American music and FM stood for French music.
French music. Oh, that's funny.
And my partner was born in Canada, and she never lets anybody forget it. So. This book is different. This is aimed at beekeepers. And it is how to keep bees in your house, how to have an observation hive.
Oh, in
so
the
you can
observation
see,
hives in the house.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can, your personal observation hive.
Yeah.
And I had a hive in my house for 10 years before I wrote the book. So,
On purpose.
well, I wrote the book because I realized that beekeepers who came to my house saw stuff they didn't see in their beekeeping time.
Sure.
And I realized every beekeeper should have an observation
Well,
hive in their house.
so
Yeah,
it makes sense. I mean, then you can keep an eye on them and see day-to-day operations.
yeah. If you go visit somebody every 2 weeks, you're going to know them. But if you
Yeah,
live with them, you really know them.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Interesting.
If you have it, like if you work at home and have this hive in your office, just where you can hear it.
Yeah.
Every time the sound changes, you can go over and take a look.
You know what's going on.
Yeah, it's
Something's
really-
going on.
and it changes all through the day, and then that day changes every season.
Yeah.
So you really get a huge amount of stuff.
Very true. Very true.
And all the stuff that, I don't know if you went to Rich's talk earlier.
Oh, just did. Yeah. His monitoring. Yeah.
All those things he talked about that you could measure, you can also see and hear.
See it,
And
yeah.
you can stick those sensors in your home hive too. And because I did.
Okay.
And, although that was in the days before Broodminder, but I had other temperature sensors in the hive scale.
Sure.
And yeah, you can really see a lot.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, thanks. And I presume you are Frank. Huh?
Yes.
So, okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm Jeff. I'm from Northeast Minnesota. And we try to survive up there through winters, and then the summer comes for a couple days, and then we're back to winter. So,
That was northern Vermont.
in northern Vermont, so you understand. All right. Thanks very much, Frank.
Thanks for your interest.
All right, better get into a session here. It's already started. And session that I'm going to is, next one is put on by a gentleman by the name of Etienne Tardif. He's from up in the Yukon. And I'll make sure I'm in the right stream here. Big plume room. And down here. So let's head in and we'll turn it off once I get in there.
There's an area here where summers are warmer. Okay, so I'm down in this dock here, so where we're at, typical summer is 20 degrees Celsius, maybe 25 is hot, the occasional 30, but that's counted on one hand. Okay, but in general, it's fairly cool. It's around the 20. In my area, we get frost any time of year.
Sorry.
So it does affect what the plants do and how much they can produce. There are some people that chase forest fires.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Windy Bridge Apiaries. Doing some interviews today and maybe tomorrow. And today I have with me Rich Morris. Rich is with Broodminder, right? And that would be what would be the URL for that?
It would be broodminder.com.
That's a tough one.
It is. We tried to, in BROOD.
Okay, yes. As opposed to
BRU.
The Germans spelling of BRU omelets and
right.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I'm going to do a hopefully brief little interview here with Rich. So Rich, I know you're from, where you said, Stoughton, Wisconsin?
Stoughton, Wisconsin,
so
beautiful downtown.
What is a cheddarhead doing up here in Calgary, Alberta?
Well, we feel comfortable in this environment, being from the northern lands, the hinterlands. But no, for a Western Apicultural Society meeting, one of our early big supporters was Etienne Tardif, who is now president.
Yeah.
Jerry Bromanshank in Montana, and they're really getting the WAS convention going again. It's had been pretty quiet for a couple of years, so we came up to support that.
It's quite a convention too.
Well, it's been really
very
great.
Enjoyable.
It's been a lot of fun. I normally bring a lot of stuff, but here, Robert at Worker and Hive is our Canadian distributor, so I don't have to worry about that.
There you go.
I'm actually really enjoying
business. Huh?
Yeah, enjoying this and talking to a lot of people and networking and all that.
All right. Well, good. And you were leading at least one session or more, or being part of the sessions here. What were you trying to tell people about at the conference?
So because we've been doing this hive monitoring stuff for about 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah. Since 2015 we started, and just coming in, helping out again Etienne and the crew. We're seeing a real evolution as people it's not unusual anymore when we started out the whole hive monitoring. So mostly I've been involved. Frank Linton had a session yesterday that I helped with because Frank's been doing this for a long time, and we did that together today. I had the session about, what do you get out of hive monitoring and those sorts of things. Then tomorrow we're having a round table with some of the interested parties. Jerry Bromanshank's going to phone in from Montana and say, okay, what should we be thinking about? What's the future of all this? Sure. So, where are we going?
Yeah, because once you have a product, you just don't stop there.
You don't, and
you keep what do you want to say, engineering change that product, but you're also trying to introduce new products in too.
And it's even a little bigger than that because we're looking at the whole industry. Most of us know each other who are doing this because we're all sort of passionate and trying to figure out what we should be doing, and not trying to replicate work as much as broaden what we're doing.
Okay.
So
cool. And you're also attending some sessions here too. Have you learned anything yet?
I've learned so much. One of the real benefits of doing this over the years has been going to the regional meetings and seeing people like Tom Seeley and Jamie Ellis and these people who really are Dewey Karam is here.
Yep, focused in on
and they just know this stuff like the back of their hand.
Right.
I have a veterinarian father and a nurse mother, and a farmer brother, but I got the engineering gene. So working with these people who are really into the biology and what's going on is important for us, and it's just really enjoyable. So going to these sessions is terrific.
Okay, awesome. Going back to Broodminder just a little bit here, can you give us a brief rundown of what your product line is right now? I know we can go out and look at the website, but sometimes people like to hear about it.
Well, early on we are targeting mostly backyard people for the beginning of our life, because with colony collapse, there all of a sudden was a lot of more interest, a lot of backyard people, a lot of urban, a lot of women and younger people. And so we saw that as an opportunity to discover more what's going on in the hives with people who were willing to spend more than a nickel on their beehives. Yeah. Because traditionally there's old white guys who were just not spending money. So what we've learned is there's a high value to temperature inside the hive. We've got a lot of stuff on that. Humidity also, but temperature tells you a ton. Weight, the thing weight tells us is blooming. Weight is nectar.
Sure.
Nectar is blooming, blooming is climate. So since we've shipped about 30,000 of these around the world, what's really interesting, and we share our data public domain with researchers, is year over year changes in those blooming in that schedule and everything. Sure. So we have internal sensors, we have weight sensors, we just added a BDAR, as we call it, which is an entrance monitor, so it tells you when your bees are flying. We did that mostly for the European pollinators, but it's been really interesting to look at. Then we have an awful lot of stuff basically to connect it up to the cloud, because hives are out in the middle of nowhere or they're in your backyard. So we have these hubs that take it from the sensors to cellular or Wi-Fi or LoRa, all these different
or
things.
just local collection. You come by later.
So what we do is about a third sensor, about a third getting it to the cloud, and about a third doing something with it in the cloud.
Okay.
So a lot of software.
Yeah. So I pulled that out and said, this is how I collect my Broodminder. I have a sub-hub.
Right.
And I have mostly temperature sensors, some temperature and humidity in there. And I'll walk up to the sub-hub or to each individual hive. I can download it onto my cell phone via Bluetooth.
Right.
And
well, all of the people in our group are beekeepers, and so we're doing this mainly for ourselves.
Okay.
you're just and we are very impatient, and so we like it. We purposely are targeting like my mom, because where the power of all this really is when you get a lot of data, then the outliers fall away, and you see what the real data is.
Yeah. Now you mentioned your scales, your weight scales too. That also shows loss of bees, right? Or some other types of activities?
So if you have swarms, so there's interesting things in the life of a beehive, as you know.
Right.
And one of the most dramatic ones is swarms, which I've changed my perception of over the years. One, they're cool to be in the middle of. So if you get a chance,
just one opportunity.
Isn't it amazing?
It's amazing.
They're just all going crazy.
They don't care about you.
No. But it's how they propagate. So that's what
part
we're
of their
trying
life
to do.
cycle.
It is. So, but when this 5 or 8 pounds of bees leave, that shows up very quickly on the scale. But it also shows up really nicely on a temperature device, because you get this temperature bump. And we watch for that. And
so you have both devices in the hive, and you can correlate between the two.
And you can say, okay, I saw this happen, but I lost 8 pounds of bees. Okay, it's time to go and make sure I got a queen coming along.
You also mentioned two, I don't want to steal any thunder from your presentations, but you also mentioned putting sensors in your swarm traps. I call them swarm boxes because to me they're not really traps because they're free to come and go as you please.
That's true.
But you know what I mean. So what's the value there?
So the cool thing there, and Teo Hartman, who's my partner in Virginia, has done a lot with it. And with a swarm box or swarm trap, hive hung in a tree, pretty much all it is you want the bees to move in, and you want to know when they move in because you want to leave them there about a week. They're going to start building comb and start moving in. You don't want to take them out immediately to transfer out and leave them a bit. So if you can get them at the right time, that's really good. And if you got 10 of them around, then you can be watching them all. And it becomes really easy to see them move in because all of a sudden the temperature inside and outside are tracking until you get this 100-watt light bulb to move in, and then you see this big differential. So he's actually used it as a bee supplier. He ran out of bees last spring. He said, okay, well, I'll put a swarm trap in your backyard and we'll trap your bees.
Yeah.
And then we did,
you know
did that for
exactly
them.
when that happened then too.
Yeah,
And
and it's just, a lot of this is fun, but seriously, what we are looking for and keep exploring is, what the return on investment is. What should we be watching?
Right.
Because, our mission is to promote bee health. It's not about pollination. It's not about those things. It's really just about figuring out how to have a healthy hive.
Yeah. For me and swarm traps, I want to catch my bees when they swarm.
Well,
and so far I've been fairly successful, and I think in my area, since we're a bit farther north, I don't think we have any feral honeybees anywhere around us. So I really, it's good if I can catch my bees and know when they're there. And I did that last year, and I had some sensors in there. And
and you saw
come
it.
back, and I came back. I thought, well, when did they come in? And I looked, and sure, it was right after a storm.
Very cool.
And, so I could correlate back some things there.
Yeah, it's sort of like a walk-away split, except they're walking away, a fly-away split.
Right. Yeah, right. There you go. Latest developments. I think we talked. Well, no, we didn't talk about some of the latest developments because you talked in when your talk this morning was. You talked about was it BDAR?
BDAR,
the radar, and then there was something else, BTV.
Yeah, so for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been working on a mite counter. So, Varroa mites are enemy number one. That's not news to anybody. And we got a grant with Purdue University to
that's so cool
for a mite counter. So our phase 1 small business innovative research grant ran last year, and we collected a bunch of data, and the goal being that to really count what the 24/7 mite level is in a hive. We're doing that video based. We tried some other things, but it really boils down to having a very near focus camera in the brood nest looking at the bellies of the bees, because 80% of the mites, as we know from Sammy Ramsey, are on the bellies.
Yeah.
So it's a little tricky environment. We
How
are
do you
lighting
get them to
with
flip over and
well,
show your belly?
They're walking. So our camera frame, they walk on the glass of the camera basically across, and we see. So we've had pretty good luck figuring out all that. We're going for a phase 2 in November, which will let us take it to product.
Oh, nice.
Our goal being to get it, where it's available to everybody at a price that is, useful. If it's $1,000 each, it doesn't go far.
Right.
But the marketing that we did through that, NSF encouraged us to do, was that about a third of certainly backyard people will test. They see the importance and will do it. No qualms. About a third don't like doing it, but will do it. And about a third just won't do it. And we see that as a huge problem. Number one killer of our hives is the viruses that Varroa carry.
Yeah.
So as David Peckett-Betterby told us, we have plenty of options to treat. And there's soft options and hard options and all this. But we don't have a lot of good ways to detect.
Detections, yeah.
So this will be a passive camera that goes in the hive.
Well, other than the other 2 weeks
That
Right.
looks okay. That looks okay.
Right.
Now,
Well,
you
and the
can
big problem
hopefully
is
slightly automated, so it's
if you're looking at the backs of the bees, you're only seeing
Yeah.
a few percent
Right.
of what's really there.
and doing the washes and all. I don't want to say you're just doing
Yeah.
visual inspections, but
Right.
the washes too.
Yeah, and it's, I don't like doing it either.
I really don't like doing it either.
No one likes it. 99 out of 100
these
people.
could be out collecting in a couple of weeks, you know.
Right,
and
right.
It's just like,
Yeah.
oh well, all right. Well, good. You also, I don't know if you can mention it here, but you also mentioned a future thing. You just had a meeting with some of your fellow wizards, and you're talking about possibly coming up with ways to, now that you're collecting all this data and you're processing it through filters and whatnot, and I saw your decision tree, and I'm like, oh no, that sure looks familiar, because that's my background too.
That's right. That's right. So our mission. So we had our first global summit, Broodminder Summit in June.
Summit.
So
okay.
Lorenzo came from France, and Teo from Virginia, and Anya from North Carolina, and we all met in Stoughton, and just said, okay, what should we be doing this next year? We're collecting data, we're storing it. Okay, that's great, but so what? And so what we are focusing on now for next season is workflow. So by workflow we mean, okay, I detected my hive swarmed. What happens next? And to track the things that you need to remember and to give advice to beekeepers. For instance, once the hive swarms, well, we know there's no eggs being laid. So we know that a queen can still be made for another 3 days. Okay, so you need to go back and check in 4 days.
Yeah.
Do you have any emergency queen cells or those sorts of things? And like everything in what I showed you, our decision tree is, it depends. Well, when you do a workflow like that, you can't leave it depends
No, yeah.
blank.
Yeah.
So we've got about
Yeah.
50 pages of it depends.
Drop out the bottom, and your guess is as good as mine, kind of,
Right.
on the flow chart. But anyway.
So Teo has been doing an amazing job figuring this out and working through it. But now we have to turn that into something usable
Right.
for a normal person. So
And it's gonna
Amanda, our lead programmer, is going to France in about 2 weeks to spend a month there working with Maxime and Lorenzo, who are our analytics person, to try to figure out just how we're going to do this for next year.
So it's going to be a little more than just data mining.
Oh yeah,
Right, and
It's
pulling
using-
out information. It's actually going to be action upon that data that it pulls
Right,
out.
right.
So,
I mean, that's where the gold is.
and maybe in the more popular vernacular, AI, right? Artificial intelligence-ish.
Probably not on this particular session. Definitely will be on the vision stuff, and on some of the more esoteric ones down the line. This first one is a lot of bee math, right? So we've been taught queens are this 18 days, workers are 21. We know a lot.
It's like any product. You're going to start here and eventually
Right.
grow on and grow and grow and grow. And then sometimes you have to go back and rewrite. I know that story. and grow
Over
and
and
grow
over.
and grow.
Yes, yeah.
All too well.
Yeah, but more and more that's becoming a part of our life. And with the MiteMinder project, we're learning a lot about the whole AI, and so it will get applied to it too. So,
Okay, good.
so
Well, that's pretty much out of questions, except I do have one left for you.
oh, okay.
What's with the tropical shirts at a bee show? I mean,
Well, so you get to a certain point in life.
yeah, you don't care?
Well, I just do that, and it has become part of our brand. It's always fun
Sure.
showing up. When we showed up in Massachusetts at EAS, someone from across the parking lot, hey, the Broodminder guys are
when I
here.
walked in here into the trade show floor, I just had to look for that shirt, and
There it
there
is.
he is.
Yeah.
So,
So
I have a
it's-
few of those too, just to be honest.
Oh,
so-
good. Well,
So, if I would have known, I would have made it brought one here. But Alberta,
well,
paradise.
that's fly your freak
Well,
flag.
Okay. Well, that's all I had.
Okay. Well, it's been
I do
a pleasure,
appreciate-
Jeff.
Thank you very
And
much. Do
It's
appreciate
always good to
being
talk
here.
to people who are using the stuff, and
Yeah.
we want that feedback. We want the good and the bad stories, because we're just trying to do the right things.
Okay, all right.
And every hive counts. Have to say that.
There you go. Every hive counts, and it truly does.
Yes.
Especially up in my neck of the woods,
Yeah.
where, the seasons are pretty short.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And if you can prevent something.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure
Appreciate
thing. Bye.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. And now I'm joined by a gentleman that should be a familiar face to everybody. It appears you got enough beauty sleep last night. So congratulations.
Thank you. It was pretty good.
That's good. Good. And you can laugh if you want. You don't
I
have
will.
To, you don't
I
have
will.
to be a deadpan Canadian.
No, I know, but we got to get going. Eh?
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Let's get going. He's on a schedule here.
No, not in that sense. But well, once we get going, then
Well,
I can
actually,
start
you are on a
expressing
schedule.
myself.
Etienne is current president of WAS, W-A-S, and that's an acronym for Western Apicultural Society. And it's a club, what do you want to say? It's a club for individuals, and also is it a club of clubs? And other clubs can join in with that?
Technically, it's an equivalent to EAS
Okay, the Eastern Apicultural
Society.
Okay.
So this is the Western. When it was originally formed, was to be the Western equivalent to EAS. So it's all the provinces and territories from Alaska, Yukon, all the way down to New Mexico.
Okay.
And in the center, I think Wyoming, North Dakota.
Somehow Minnesota got in
Nevada.
there a little bit, but
Yeah, no, that's a little bit too far.
Those rebels,
because I think you're in the center, and you don't know where you are yet. But,
yeah, I know.
And then, so yeah, from Saskatchewan over. So Manitoba is not part of it, so that's technically why Minnesota is
Okay.
is great.
Nonetheless, I'm glad
Yep.
to be here. Anyway,
You're welcome.
I like what you guys do. So, you could tell us, now we know the range of what WAS is. What is WAS? Why is it here?
So WAS is a nonprofit. Our mission is it's around education, sharing, networking, building, I guess, community around beekeeping for hobbyists and potentially small sideliners. So the key target is mostly hobbyists, and it's about education and sharing information. And I guess in the last few years, even during COVID, so we put on these mini conferences on Zoom. We ran monthly seminars where we'd bring usually 2 speakers, scientific, practical type beekeepers, to share with, I'd say, originally it was for the membership, but we just opened it up to everybody because, like I said, we're a nonprofit, so it's not about making money, but it's about sharing ideas and bringing beekeepers together. And I guess in our membership structure, we have individual / family type memberships, and then associations, where the point of that is so associations can share the content and share what we do with their membership. And then we've got business and student type memberships.
Okay. And I assume they got a website somewhere we can
Yes.
look at that. And
So Western Apicultural Society
I have struggles with this too.
think-
Try both org or com. No, I don't think it's the com.
I think it's .org,
I think it is.
because I just led the .com.
Tell you what, I'll look it up and I'll put a little
Yep.
header up here.
So it is .org.
Okay.
And if you Google WAS Western Apiculture, you'll start writing, Google will pop it up.
And boom, it'll pop up.
Exactly.
Yeah, autofill.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Well, good. We're here in Calgary, in Alberta, and we're at a conference. The conference was sponsored by WAS, but it's being helped by some other club too. What's a CDBD?
So I'll explain it. So
Yeah, thank you.
WAS, because we're spread all over the place.
Right.
So one of the new approaches we're taking, this being the first one, is it's where we partner with a local association to actually run the conference together.
Okay.
Because the local membership, the local folks are, for example, the CDBA, so the Calgary District's Beekeepers Association.
Okay.
They have 400 to 600 members. And what it does, it allows us to partner with an established association with established contacts, networks in that community. And it just makes life so much more.
Well, they're
Fruitful.
connected in the community. They know
We have the same
people.
vision.
And they know resources and whatnot, at least for events that
Exactly.
they get, rather than you and somebody else sitting on the phone.
And it's a
trying to
way
find something.
of collaborating versus competing, because there's so much competition now, and I hate saying the word competition between all these associations, these big conferences. So vendors, sponsors, there's a dilemma there in choosing which one to support, because there's a lot of choice out there. So, like I said, our goal is not to make money, but just to break even. So it makes it easier, and then these vendor sponsors are actually seen as sponsoring WAS and the local association. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Good. Well, thank you. I've really enjoyed the facility here. It's the people are friendly. Even the staff here that are at the resort, it's very nice accommodations. Is there any type of thing you're doing here at this conference that you want to be different from another type of conference? Is there anything special about here, other than being an hour and a half away from one of my most favorite national parks, Banff National Park, which we just spent 7 days up there, and yes, I'll be getting some pictures on. But anything you're trying to accentuate here, or are there specific problems that you're trying to address? Or?
I guess one reason it's in Canada. So we tend to go region by region. I'd say the last 4 years during COVID days, so it was always canceled.
Yeah.
Hence the reason we did the online mini conferences on a monthly basis. So it's our first in person, I think, since 2018.
Oh, it's been a while.
I've only been part of WAS since 2019.
Okay.
And I rose to being president fairly quick.
Right to the top.
I guess. And so...
Wrong place, right time?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
But it's been good. And I guess running this conference, having a say or I guess a lead in the speaker program and helping out with the workshop and working with, say, Dewey, Dr. Karen, Ron McShaw, and I guess the team. It's been great. So I got to build the program to what I want.
That's great.
But also from a Canadian perspective.
So you're saying it's more of a personal touch.
It has to be, but also balancing practical, the human side of beekeeping with research and science.
Yeah.
And trying to keep that balance, because sometimes, so for example, I went to Apicultural, it was wonderful, it was great, but it's a scientific, technical presentation, 15-minute time slots, and it's like, I don't remember the last time I talked for 15 minutes. I need an hour or 45 minutes.
I agree, yeah.
So, and you can't really build a relationship with the audience in 15 minutes.
Right.
So it's more about presenting your findings, your science, versus building connection. And for things like this, and that's what I liked about Hive Life, is those 1 hour time slots, half-hour break to visit the vendors.
Yep.
And the sponsors is a nice balance, so it allows for networking. So I actually emulated a lot of this from what I learned at Hive Life.
Sure.
A different scale, but I'd say it helped me, and I came in for some advice here and there. So it helped with putting on the show. So, and being an engineer, I guess I had my spreadsheet for the budget, different models, the base case, all these types of things. So I had to. And as the numbers came closer to the base case, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because then you start breaking even.
Yeah.
And then you can offer more.
Right.
And then once we hit the 125, the 150, and I was like, oh, interesting. So then we can offer more,
Yeah.
sponsor more of the speakers' time and effort, and then so now we're at 175. So it de-risks the event because you really don't know how much it's going to cost before
Right.
everything happens because it's venues a lot of times it costs per head.
I know that when I registered, I had an awesome discount, like 26% because of the
U.S. exchange.
US.
Oh, and that's why for you guys, like $150 Canadian, and then for you guys, like 126 or something like that.
Not that I'm trying to rub anything in, but
no.
but it was.
But it was on purpose.
It paid for a lot of gas to get here. Let's put it that way.
Because what it did is a third of the folks here, at least a third, are not from Calgary.
Yeah.
And the point of WAS is to bring the regions together. So there's folks from the U.S., Georgia, D.C., you from Minnesota.
How many total here, maybe including all your, what would you say, the local club staffing or whatever, do you think? It wasn't around 250 or a little more?
So I'd say about 210.
The 210, okay.
Yeah, so for example, the food I budgeted 230. And so I think we're pretty damn close to 230 with the volunteers. 175, 180 with the participants.
Okay.
Throw in another 18 speakers.
Right.
And then throw in the 35 vendors and sponsors and their staff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about
Good.
230, which
Good.
is for this venue, it's a sweet spot.
Yeah, and it's very comfortable too. I don't feel like I'm being crowded or.
No.
It's a great venue.
But I had to cut it off. Originally, we were thinking 200 was the cutoff, people. But then when I started accounting for the vendors, the speakers, the volunteers, I was like, we actually. So then I just put a hard cut at 175.
Yeah.
And luckily the numbers balanced. And and that was the key. I didn't want anybody to lose money, any of the association. So.
Right.
And,
So you said this is the first one maybe in 5 years or so. Will there be another one in a few years, or you thinking?
So literally,
I know your presidency ends
at the end of the year.
End of this year, calendar year.
Yeah. So
you may not have vision yet, but.
Oh yes.
Oh, he's got vision.
So the next one will be 99% in Sacramento, California. So we have our director from California is already going through the steps and the pre-planning and the thinking. And what I'm doing is I'm sharing the spreadsheets and the.
Napa Valley is not too far away.
Yeah. So, but that'll be his problem. I know nothing about California, so
the redwoods and oh yeah.
So it should be an interesting.
I like to travel.
Yeah. And I haven't been to California, so it's a good excuse to travel.
Right. Okay. Now to switch gears a little bit here from your duties at WAS WAS over to more personal type things. You are way up somewhere in the Yukon of Canada, and you said the name of the hamlet that
it's called the Hamlet of Mount Lorne.
The Hamlet of Mount Lorne.
Yes.
I take it there's a mountain nearby, and
it's called Mount Lorne.
Mount Lorne. Imagine that. Hey, not bad, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, now that we got that out of the way, maybe I'll put a map up here and say it's right around here.
So it's about half an hour, 40 minutes from Whitehorse.
After last January's conference, I pulled up Google and found you.
Yep.
Out there, and you're in the sticks.
I am in the sticks and right in the middle of a valley.
Yeah, gorgeous. And
yes,
it's got some photos out there. Oh, it's a beautiful place, beautiful place. So what do you do there? I know you have long winters and not a whole lot of sunshine, which equates to maybe a lot of time. No, you actually have a real job. So what do you do from the middle of nowhere? You said an engineer, and you're working on many projects, but as far as the beekeeping goes, I know you do a lot of taking your bees out, dissecting them. You do a lot of collections, walks with your dogs. I heard about that today and yesterday, So, what are you doing with your bees? First of all, how many colonies do you have, do you think?
So typically I'll have 4 to 12 colonies.
Okay.
And when I have larger numbers, I have more experiments going. And so right now I'm at 4. I came out of the winter with 4. I had one that had that amoeba disease that I knew was going to die, so that was fine.
I remember seeing that.
And then I split a really strong one, so I had 9 colonies. I purchased a bunch of import queens because I needed queens fairly early, but it got cold. So 2 stuck. I donated a colony to a friend, and so now I had issues with queens, so I had to reduce and recombine. So now I'm back down to 4 decent colonies. So, like I said, beekeeping is more of a hobby. It's more of a mental. It's more for mental stimulation, intellectual stimulation, asking questions. Hence the reason I do all this other stuff. And
you crush bees, you dissect.
I dissect.
You've got a, what do you call this?
A centrifuge.
Centrifuge, spinner thingy.
Yep. Yep. And that's the concentrate.
So it's more than just getting honey.
Oh, honey's just like I said.
It's just a byproduct. Yeah. Take 2. Okay, we were, where were we at here? We were talking about, dissections and whatnot. So this is more than just getting honey for you. In fact, honey is just a small part of it, right? You like the challenge, and I understand that. I like challenges too. And we'll talk about some of our challenges in just a little bit here. You dissect them, you squish them, you have a centrifuge, the spinny thingy, and so what do you hope to gain out of all of this? Why do you do this, other than the challenge?
I like to understand why. You know those kids that start asking why questions, why that?
I was one.
So I'm one of those, but I'm a 48-year-old why ask. And so if a bee or a colony does Y or X, I want to know why it does it. So, and to understand, you need to take observations, you need to have some idea of basic biology and like the behaviors of the bees, and so that's what I do. And so that's the thing with observations. So, because there's the bees in the environment, there's the bees inside their beehives, there's what are the bees eating, and so squishing bee guts or dissecting out bee guts and having a look tells you a lot about what the bees are doing.
Yeah.
And and then you take notes.
How they're doing, the health and all this.
Yep.
I know you've had some nosema problems, and what's the paramecium of sorts?
It's called amoeba. It's a parasite, yeah.
Paramecium? It's not a paramecium. It's an amoeba. Okay.
Yeah, an amoeba.
Paramecium is a type of amoeba, I think. Anyway.
So this one's connected to the honeybees, so an amoeba disease, and it's usually connected with nosema. And typically in my climate, or in most of Canada, the bees won't do well if they have it. It's usually we just say nosema, because to know if you have this, you'd have to do a test. And the test just came out. And it's a visual test, right? Previously it was a visual test, but if people don't know what to look for, they won't see it.
Right.
And the PCR test just came out, but it's really not. We don't know how widespread this is, so hence the reason why it was fun, because it was known in the 50s and the 40s and a bit more researched, and then it sort of went away. And I guess in my apiary it came back. So. And it was the only reason I lose bees.
Well, I think you have probably more of a problem than I do when it comes to that sort of thing. This past year, I wrapped up my hives just after Thanksgiving, which would be 1st of December or so. And I it didn't really start peeking in the hives till it was late March. And so those bees are in there. You'd see them go out and take their cleansing flight, and like you said earlier,
Yep.
and they can't hold it in forever. So if they got this disease, it could be catastrophic. So going on a little more personal, I know you like backpacking, probably one of the many things you like. I like backpacking too. You recently just took a trip even farther north than where you are now.
Yeah.
I think you said it was north.
It was.
In one of your videos. And bears?
We didn't see any bears, I think, along the highway or the road driving up, but it's a place called Tombstone. And it's Tombstone,
Okay.
provincial or territorial park. It's north of Dawson.
Okay.
And
a ways up there.
it's a bunch of monoliths. So it's like the Patagonia of the north.
Yeah.
So it was a 7-day hike. So 1 day to hike in, or actually more than that. So basically 6 nights of hiking in the mountains and in different valleys and climbing
gorgeous.
up peaks and passes and swimming in freezing lakes. And but it was good. It was what we like to do.
Freeze dried and
Yeah, freeze-dried food because you got to carry 7 days worth of food in your back.
lightweight tents, lightweight pads.
So my bag was about 45 pounds.
That's usually what mine was about, but half of that was usually camera gear for me.
Yep.
But
Yeah, no, it was.
get 5 miles down the trail and you're starting to regret it. But
Yeah.
I got a lot of nice pictures.
Yeah. No, it's usually the elevation that gets you.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Yeah, especially us flatlanders.
Yeah.
You know,
My legs are better now.
My elevation of my house is right at 1,000 feet above sea level, and anytime I go out west, it's like a day or two to acclimate to, or try to acclimate to the altitude. Okay. All right. Well, one last thing. You do have a YouTube channel out there, and what do you call it? It's
I think was it north of 60?
North of
beekeeping?
60 degrees or something
North
like
of
that.
60 beekeeping?
Or I think probably just go on YouTube itself, do their search function to find Etienne Tardif and north of 60, something like that.
Yeah,
We'll
north
get
of
out
60
there.
beekeeping.
But good. He does really good videos. A lot of good instruction on cold climate stuff, and I've learned a lot from yours, and I do thank you for that. I do appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
And I don't have quite the same setup. I actually almost have the same kind of climate. Yours, I think, is more extreme than mine is, because they all work off of averages. But it's amazing. So, okay.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the chat.
Thank you for putting on this conference. I
Good.
do appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Okay.
And day 1 and 2 are done, and everything's been good. So let's
Just
hope
about
for
to
a
go
good-
to an awards conference, and then
Yeah.
now we're off to tomorrow. So, and then we head home.
I was too busy to figure out the awards, so we'll see what happens.
A little ad-libbing tonight, maybe?
Oh yeah, lots of ideas. I have no idea what I'm going to say.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, welcome everybody. Good. What would it be? Is it evening yet? Nope. Yeah, it is evening here. We're still at the WASC conference, the Western Apicultural Society conference here in Calgary, Alberta. And as you can probably tell, another guest interview, here, and name is Kamon Reynolds. And he's been once again very busy, running around, lots of things going on for him here, and the conference is officially over at this point, and you can probably hear them in the background here. They're picking up the chairs and tables and all that, so we'll try and get through this so you can get out to dinner as soon as possible, because I know how famished you are at this point.
Oh, yeah, always famished.
Yeah, okay. So, good day, eh?
Oh, it's been a great A time.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah, it's like a beauty day, eh?
Well, I know, but, where's the A come from? I mean, I know.
I have no clue. I'm south of the border, too.
I've asked Ian before. He has no clue, but that's not unusual for
I have
him.
some friends up in Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Oh, yeah.
And they also say oot and roof and all those.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we just say y'all watch this and stuff like
yeah,
that.
and you're fixing to do this.
Yeah,
and
fixing.
All that.
We don't
I'm
have
still
time
trying to
for
figure
that.
out
G.
Fixing
no.
this. How you? Maybe you're going out and preparing your meals or something, fixing to eat.
Well, we're in a hurry, you know, so we don't have time for shooting or hunting or fixing, shooting, hunting, eating, all that kind of stuff. We're in a hurry.
Okay, yeah. And of course, we have our own dialect too, of Northeast Minnesota. So let's get in a little bit. What are you doing here in Calgary? What's a Tennessee boy doing up here?
Well, so the Western Apicultural Society invited me up, and it's my first time to Canada, and it's been really a great A time. It's been awesome. And there's just been a lot of really cool people that I've got to meet. There's some neat vendors here as well. And I'm here to learn. I'm also here to share. They asked me to speak, and I ended up giving 4 presentations. I was expecting to do 3, but they
surprise.
But surprise! Oh, I told them if they needed any help, just let me know, because I really enjoy what I do. I just enjoy beekeeping. To me, this is between the flight and then today. It's 4 days so far into this, and I am pretty drained, but at the same time, I feel really fulfilled because, I love this. I've learned so much about Canadian beekeeping, at least on this side of the country, and I've learned a lot more about how similar that we really are, because a lot of the Canadians like similar music to me, and of course, the love of bees is there, so absolutely have had a just awesome time. What a good excuse to come to Canada to do bee stuff, and they've run this really well, too.
It's run really well. Very proficient people here at the venue, and it's been an awesome time, really has been. While you were leading sessions, what things were you hoping to communicate out to anybody else?
I was hoping to.
That was actually awake for your session.
Yeah, that was actually awake. Well, I think we kept everyone awake besides Tom Nolan with Formic Pro,
Tom,
but he's one of the...
He's one of those problem childs.
He is. Well, he was the first Canadian I really got to meet outside of Ian Stepler, and I was really concerned that all Canadians might be that way, but thankfully they're not. They're really nice. And so one of the things I really wanted to talk about the most is being sustainable. We all have different levels of success that we want to have, and so for some of us, we might want to start with 2 to 3 hives and maybe eventually get to 10 or 5 or whatever the number is, and we might just want to have a little bit of honey, maybe just have our bees mostly alive to pollinate the local environment in our garden and things like that, and that might be success for us, and that's awesome. There's some people here that are running thousands of colonies and making 200 pounds in a good year off of their hives, and it's a big honey business here.
I found that amazing.
Oh, it's we just can't do that in Tennessee, so that was really fascinating to see. So just sustainability and having success, and that really involves having great queens, dead mites, and good nutrition, in my opinion, because if we have a great queen, it's like the engine, and if we have a strong engine, we're going to go places fast, and if we don't have mites holding our colony back, again, we're going to go fast, and they're going to be healthy, and they're going to make it through the winter. And then if we have good nutrition that's full of vitamins and minerals and probiotics for our bees, and just the essential components they need to regenerate and replenish the population throughout the year. Yeah, that's really what I wanted to convey, and also how to make your own queens and how to make your own splits, and also expectations of loss, because losses are very normal in any agricultural industry, but in bees even more so, just because they're a dynamic insect. They go forward very quickly, they go back very quickly, very dynamic, and they don't live a very long time. So if there's an issue, be diligent and get in there and manage them. Take care of them. What you put into bees, I find I get back out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned you were learning a lot of things from the local people too. Anything in particular stick out, or?
Yeah.
Or what? Okay.
Excuse me.
That's fine.
So, one of the things that I've learned the most from the Canadians is just how they have to really quickly get that honey off and prep for winter. That's not the way it is in Tennessee at all.
At my place too.
Because in Tennessee, our flow's done usually in my region of Tennessee by the second week of June. And then we have July, and then we have August, and then we have really in September is when we really want to start thinking about maybe reducing space more and various things. And we're managing the bees all throughout the summer. Actually, I believe summer beekeeping in Tennessee is the rough part of our season. We don't have the crazy winters like you all have. So if you have good bees going into winter, you're going to have good bees coming out of winter in Tennessee, because we don't have those crazy winters. But for them, you know, they've got to get the honey supers off. They got to treat, get those mite levels low. They've got to just downsize and downstack things and prep and wrap hives and various different things. And also, of course, the canola honey. I knew that a little bit watching Ian's videos, that you've really got to extract fast with some of this honey. But just learning a lot about the flora up here, and learning a lot about the commercial beekeeping up here and the needs of the Canadian beekeepers. And I just absolutely love it. I'm a bee nerd, and the more I learn about bees, the happier I am.
Okay. So shifting more to a personal level here, how are your bees doing this year? I think you said last year that they kind of suffered a little bit because of all the time and effort you put into a conference, but doing okay this year? Or?
We had a good season. The flow was a little bit different this year. We had a little bit of hiccup in the middle of the season, which is unusual, but the tail end of it, the basswood and the sweet clover, really performed well and brought us back up to an average.
I love the basswood.
So the basswood's just a prime honey. If someone's going to plant trees for bees and they're thinking long-term, basswood trees are the tree to plant, in my opinion. They're really generous producers of nectar, and they're just a great tree overall. And they produce late in the season at the tail end of our flow, so it's a lot more valuable than planting something that's going to compete with other plants during the middle of the season.
So harvest was pretty good then?
Yeah.
And
harvest was good.
Well, I know you do more than just harvest honey. You're selling nukes and a lot of other things too. But
yeah, we produced a good bit of bees. Where I struggle balancing out the business right now is because of our conference and the YouTube channel and doing speaking engagements like this and homeschooling the kids and then managing the bees as well.
Okay.
In the summer months is when we have a hard time keeping up with feeding and mite treatments. But the bees are doing really good, and we've tried to go the extra mile, and the bees are really showing it.
Okay.
That nice clusters going into winter, I think.
Well, you just mentioned your YouTube channel. Might as well get to that now. How do we find your channel? I have a feeling most everybody that
there's a lot of
looking
people
at my channel that probably knows about
maybe
yours.
so, but there's a lot of people
I
that
did hear
don't
some
know.
people coming up and introducing themselves and said, "And who are you?" Because they didn't really know who you were. So
yeah, so that's really actually nice. That's
refreshing.
It's refreshing because it was nice at first when people started recognizing me, because back in the day nobody knew who I was, and that was okay, but it was nice to have some recognition, not really from an ego standpoint, but for relationship and friend building. And it's nice to have a lot of friends that know things that you don't. This YouTube channel has been beneficial for me because I've learned at such an accelerated rate, because I've been exposed to so much new things at an accelerated rate. And so, when it comes to the YouTube channel, people can find me at Kamon Reynolds, those who don't already follow me, and there's a lot of people that don't. But it is really interesting though. I'll fly to a place like this, and somebody at the airport is like, "Hey, Kamon, how's it going? I watched your videos," and it's just really surreal. It's really weird.
Yeah, I don't know you, but you know me.
But it's a lot of
fun. They act like they're old friends too.
They do. They act like they're old friends, and it's so nice of them. And 99% of the people are just super awesome. There's always a creep or two every now and then that just won't leave you alone. No, you're just fine.
Just creepy, not a creep.
Just creepy.
Okay,
not
thank
a creep.
you.
And so we have a lot of fun with it. And I'm a people person, and to have some people say, "Hey, you've really helped me be able to split my bees better, or you've helped me monitor mites better, and you've helped me be able to keep my bees alive or produce more honey," I mean, that means a lot to me. And I get thousands, over the years I've gotten thousands of either emails or in-person things like that, but it still matters. I want to see beekeeping as a whole do well, and I think that's the foundation upon which we're built, is the new beekeeper being able to keep their bees alive.
That's one of the things I find really attractive about the hobby is what do you want to say, the willingness of anybody like you, the commercial side of things, or me, the lowly little hobby beekeeper, you're still going to talk to me. you know, and
Oh,
willing
surely.
to share information back and forth, and I so appreciate that.
Well, it's only right. I started when I was 14, and I made all the mistakes that you probably could make, and that's why we're here. The only thing I did right early on was just not give up. We made all the mistakes, and you know, there's guys so much bigger than me, you know, so there's always somebody to learn from. You know, there's guys like Bob Benny who I look up to, and you know, I look up to Ian, but it's because he's like 6'2". It's really not.
That's the only reason, huh?
Right? Probably.
I guess I'd have to look up to him too if I ever met him in person.
Yeah, he's a pretty tall guy.
Yeah.
And so you learn from these fellas, and you know, other researchers and stuff. And it's only fair that when they help you out, that you go and help somebody else out. And and as beekeepers, we have to take care of our own. That's the way I look at it. You know, the hive is working together to be productive, and beekeepers have to do the same. So how can you be a beekeeper and not work with other beekeepers? That's the way that I look at it.
Yeah. Okay. It's not like we're all hanging on to patents and proprietary information. And
not all of us. Not all of us. We need to sign a non-disclosure after this is over.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Now you tell me. All right. Now, I know you and Laurel are very busy this time of year and prepping for something coming up in January. I have my tickets.
We're looking forward to seeing you again.
Really?
Well, no.
You're the
but
first person
you
to
gotta
ever say that.
When,
Thank
when
you.
you're on these kind of things, you have to be professional.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Retake. What was that?
Click.
Okay, but anyway, North American Honey Bee Expo, right? Or as you like to say, just the Bee Expo.
Yeah, the Bee Expo, it's easy to say, easy to remember. And
when is it then?
It is the 4th, 5th, and 6th of January.
And you know what that means for us people way in the north?
An
Snowstorms.
A snowstorm, well.
Because last year we left in a snowstorm and drove most of the way through Wisconsin and finally got out.
But then you came to us and you were fine.
And it was in the 50s and we were like, wow, paradise.
I know, right? It's like almost April here. But you know, it's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky this year. So for those of you Yankees, that's Louisville.
Or Louisville.
Yeah, or Louisville, that's right. In the South, we don't speak the King's English, or not very much of it anyways, and so I guess we're just kind of rebellious like that. But it's going to be fun. There's going to be lots of room. Right now we have over 2,300 tickets sold.
2,300.
I've got 121 vendors, and these aren't small vendors. Some of these booths are, oh goodness, let's see, the biggest one has 16 10 by 10s, and there's several that are 8 10 by 10s, and like 10 10 by 10s, and a lot of them, you know, 3 10 by 10s, very large booths, and they're bringing in supplies. I imagine that we're probably going to have at least 30 semi-loads of product this year. And so whether you're wanting, if you can drive, we have all kinds of deals. If you do Facebook, you can follow us on there. We'll have that information on the website, NorthAmericanHoneyBeeExpo.com. And
now I know you were out working some of the vendors here too.
Oh yeah, working them.
And you gained a couple more vendors, and you also had, how many, 20 others or so Canadian vendors coming down?
So we only have, let's see, I guess we're probably up to 10 or 11 Canadian vendors now. But we have,
my bad.
This doesn't include the vendors from Canada, but we have at least 45, last I counted, Canadians coming down. And that I know of. Some people don't actually put where they're coming from. We've got like 150 people who either are from the U.S. or who knows where.
Maybe they're embarrassed or something.
Well, they could be embarrassed. You know, they might be from Kentucky or something like that.
Well, that'd be embarrassing.
It would be a little embarrassing.
If you're from Manitoba, oh my.
Manitoba, yeah.
Oh,
Ian's probably... Yeah. Anyways, let's not go there. We've picked on the poor guy enough.
And this is really a question from my wife. She wants to know if we're going to have a bluegrass band again this year.
Yes.
Because we so enjoyed that last year.
Yeah, we're planning on
those
having
of us
the
that
show.
don't get exposed to that every day, it was.
Yeah, we're going to definitely have the bluegrass show unless something crazy happens. It's a lot of fun. I used to play bluegrass all the time.
It's a lot of work too.
It is a lot of work, and you know, so usually I'll work all day on the expo and stuff in the winter months, and then I'll, you know, 11 p.m., 12 p.m., 12 a.m. of a night, I'll be practicing, trying to get back into shape, because it's kind of like when you're fixing to jog or something. These things just can't automatically pop into the place and do their job. So, but it's a lot of fun playing music. It's almost as fun as bees.
Yeah.
But if people don't think there's any money in bees, They have no idea about bluegrass.
Musicians, yeah.
There's tens of dollars to be made in bluegrass.
Tens?
Yeah, tens of
That
dollars.
much? That's more than I would have expected.
Yeah.
So going back to the Bee Expo itself, what are your goals for the Expo itself? I mean, there's got to be some like mission statement. I'm afraid I hate mission statements, but
Well, you got to have them though, and
Yeah, I
and
know.
if you don't know what you got to know what you want if you're going to try to get
Right.
somewhere.
And that's your goal. That's
And we have a lot of goals with this. Just the conference itself, if you look at it face value, people are giving up vacation time. They're giving up, money to drive down, hotel expense, whatever it is. It's a serious obligation, and we appreciate that. And so we're going to put on nothing short of the best show, first and foremost. We want people to have fun. The trade show is going to be jaw-dropping. We're going to have deals there for people who can haul it back. We're also going to have some excellent speakers, and we really take the time to find speakers who are personable, that'll talk to you off of the stage, but also topics that are fresh and new. And you can't go to all the talks. This year we're going to have 3 rooms going, so you can't make it to all of them. You're going to have to pick and choose. So this year we're going to, all of the recordings, anyone who attends the conference will also get the recordings as well. So then you can rewatch what you forgot about or see what you missed. We want it to be an experience that is useful when you walk away and go, wow, I'm more excited about beekeeping than I've ever been, and that I'm going to be more successful with my bees than I have in the past, and that you have the tools to do that. One of the things that I think is often overlooked, well, 2 things. First of all is the trade show. We don't need just to have education on how to keep bees alive. We need to understand what products are in our region and which companies actually care about us and are inventing and creating better things for us. And we need to use our dollars to support those companies to make sure that we have better things now and in the future. So the trade show is a silent war. And these vendors are competing for your attention. And you get to see, oh wow, they make good boxes. Oh, whoa, those are not what I like. And this person's pretty rude, crude, and sociably unacceptable. I don't want to do business with these people. And wow, look at this extractor. This is exactly what I'm looking for. You're not looking in a catalog and going,
It's exactly right. It's the hands-on. You can
and relationships.
not necessarily compare vendor to vendor, but walk from here, then walk to somewhere else, and make up your own mind. I mean, like I said, it's better than looking on this 2-dimensional screen or your catalogs.
It's way better, and you get to interact with so many people that are in a similar situation as you, and sometimes people that are 5 years with more experience, and you can pick up a nugget or 2 of wisdom or a tip of what to avoid or maybe what to try out next. And so it's a lot of fun in that regard. And we also have the largest honey show in North America too. And so that's a lot of fun. It's just gorgeous. The North America Honey Show Training Council, I can't hardly get it right half the time. Who names these things this long? I mean, who are these guys?
You should have been in the computer industry.
Well,
never mind. They invented acronyms.
I purposefully avoided that. 2 of my family members are in the computer industry, so I hope you're watching.
I'm so sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
I'm so sorry for them too. But our honey show is a beautiful crown jewel of our event, and I just hope that people engage that and really enter the honey show. It's just a celebration of our bees, the beeswax, the cakes and the desserts made from the honey, and the sauces. And there's like 70 categories, and we get USA ribbons. The first and second place winners get trophies outside of the regular ribbons, and they get a free trip to the next year's event. And we just love the honey show, and we want to see it to be one of the biggest in the world. And I guess we're on our way, but there's always more work to do. So we have a lot of work to do, and maybe the most important thing that's overlooked.
Yeah. Just one more.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just one more thing is, this impacts more than just it locally at the conference and individually. We want individual impacts. That's our first focus. But this does impact our industry in North America and outside of it. It's helping companies be able to gauge what you want because it's in person. Some of these companies are going to our conference, and since they're exposed to 2,000 plus people, these people say, hey, you really need to do this to your machine, it'd help us out a lot. And they're listening because it's instant feedback. And it's changing the industry. And so some people are like, well, why don't I just stay home and watch YouTube? And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you go and become part of these events, you truly are impacting the course of North American beekeeping. And that is our focus, is to impact it on a commercial level, sideline level, and the hobby level, for us all to be successful, to have legislative things long term that are going to help us protect our bees better. And they're a part of that. And relationships are crucial in beekeeping.
So now you just remind me of a couple things. First one is, it's not just about relationship with vendors too, but relationship with the other beekeepers at the conference. I met people there that I'm still keeping in touch with, and it's been great. And now here at this conference, we met a couple from Edmonton, or just up by Edmonton, and gave them my card, of course. But I hope to see them too.
100%. Life is all about relationships.
And last year, you know, I knew I was going to go to the conference, but my wife was on the fence. I don't know. I said, "No, come on, just take a vacation from regular life." And so she came down, and when we were going home, I said, "Would you go again?" She said, "Yes."
No, that's really nice to hear, because she's definitely smarter than you are. Yeah, bring your spouse. You know, and we want it to be fun. You know, a lot of conferences kind of, and this one was not, but a lot of them I go to, they're kind of lethargic, and they're poorly ran, and it's a lot due to organization, and it takes a lot of hours to do any conference.
Well, I heard you had some influence too in helping.
Well, that's what they say. They were just being nice, I'm sure. But several of the people that were running the Western Apicultural Society this year, they're very competent and very skilled. And you could tell they put a lot of work into it.
And he uses a lot of spreadsheets too, I hear.
He uses a ton of spreadsheets. And so, and it takes, hey, if you're running a successful bee operation, if you're running a successful conference, you're doing anything successful, you're putting a lot of work into it. And it's the devil's in the details. And so the little things about our conference are what really matter. You know, having a big venue and having a big name and having a YouTube, that's all fine and dandy. But if people show up and it's inconvenient and they're not having fun and they're not laughing and they're falling asleep in their chairs, they're not coming back. And we love beekeeping. How can a bee conference not be fun?
Yeah. How can you go a whole day without laughing? And
well, yeah.
You gotta laugh.
Well, you gotta laugh at least me, if nothing else.
I know we've had a few moments together.
A lot of people laugh at me, and you know, my wife is. If there was a giggle chart that Laurel had, like a giggle counter,
I hear her behind the camera once in a while.
I mean, it is like that at home all the time. I think half the reason I married, I was attracted to her giggle. You know, here's someone that would actually laugh at my jokes. You know, I got to marry this person. And sometimes she's giggling with me, sometimes she's giggling at me, and you know, like, oh, he's so dumb. But you know, having that relationship that we have is a fun dynamic, and she's just such a sweet and intelligent person. But I bet if there's a giggle counter, she's probably hit 1 billion giggles in the last 12 years of marriage. It's quite funny.
You know, my wife was a psychology major, and
so you're the experiment.
I am the lifelong study. And I asked her today, "How's it going?" She says, "Still very interesting." You know,
it's still inconclusive, and I need more data.
So, well, let's just about wrap it up, because I know you want to get going, and so do we. We have to get back, start packing up the campsite and whatnot. But I know I have one subscriber out there that you know and love, and his name is Ian Stepler. And now, you can stare into the camera if you want. And do you have any last or final words, or any kind of words?
Yeah, I don't have any last words for Ian, because I'm going to be picking on him for decades to come.
Okay.
And but I do have some words for him.
It's all yours.
You know, you really need to come down to our conference at some point. We've had you once. We're going to take a little break from you because you have to take you in small doses. But maybe next year, maybe a year break will be enough time. You know, he's such a big personality, and it's just hard. You got to take him in small doses. All jokes aside, what I really want Ian to learn from this is it's pollen, not Poland.
I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I wonder what
it's
the heck
pollen.
is he talking about?
You know, but it's kind of endearing, because all jokes aside, Ian's a super hard worker, and lots of respect for farmers and beekeepers like him.
Absolutely.
His whole family, you can tell that, you know, they're really busting their rear end to make the the whole machine go, and that's what makes Canada and the United States all run is men and women like that who get out there in the cold weather or the hot weather and they make things happen. And so lots of respect for them. I just wish that Ian did it in such a way where we could have somebody like Sandy on the camera instead of having to look at Ian all the time. Sandy's, when I got to meet her in January,
I met
she's
her too.
way sharper, way better to look at, and Ian definitely agrees with that, but he says she won't do it, and I can't really say much, I guess, because Laurel would totally be better at it, but she refuses.
It was like, I told you a little bit earlier, I have a face for radio, but not for...
100%.
Is that kind of the same thing?
Yeah, for Ian, I'm not even sure radio.
Not even radio?
No, maybe record it. And
well, I'm also a ham radio operator, so
ham
that's
radio.
why I say radio. So
Ian's doing a lot of good work, not only for Canadians, but influencing people down in the U.S. He's inspiring a lot of people, and I'm very thankful. Many people don't know this, but early on in my YouTube channel days, when I had 100 subscribers, 200 subscribers, even when you're up to a few thousand, and even at this point, it can still bother you, all the negativity that you receive. When you put yourself out there, you're going to get a lot of negativity.
I agree.
I've even seen Bob Benny get roasted, and it's like a perfect video, and it's Bob of all people.
And they're worried about things that are not related to the content either sometimes. And
Sometimes it's jealousy. I mean, but you can pick on me. You can find stuff to pick on me for. I don't know how you can hardly pick on Bob for anything, but Ian was one of the guys to reach out and say, hey, Kamon, I think you're doing some good content here, and it's good for the beekeepers, and I'm sending some subscribers your way. And he kind of recommended me a few times and just helped give me some support, and he'd show up on my live chats, and I'm sure I was doing just an okay job and a little bit of a poor job. I've gotten better over the years, but he took the time out of his day. He's very busy to encourage me. Never forgotten that. And and then we went on to, Ian and I both supported Bob to help boost his channel because he was going to be successful either way. But we wanted him to get out there even faster because he's just so deserving of it. And then we've worked a lot with a lot of other YouTubers, and that's why Ian, myself, and Bob, guys who are younger beekeepers as far as how long you've been keeping bees and how many years you've done your YouTube channel. This isn't all about we're the only ones that can do a YouTube channel. This is a community, and we just want to be able to communicate and share. And Ian's a huge part of that. Bob's a huge part of that. And there's so many people that maybe they don't have the gaudy numbers of 100,000 subscribers or 50,000 subscribers, but they contribute a lot of good information, and they share a lot of useful stuff. And we hope to see more of that. I hope that they don't get discouraged, and they keep forging through this, and they're making impacts. Maybe it's not Bob Benny level, but it still impacts. The people that got me into beekeeping were running like 12 to 15 hives. Yeah. And that changed the course of my whole life. Yeah. So don't let anybody tell you that you're not doing something good if you know you're doing something well.
Yeah. And there's so much variation, microclimates, microcosms, that what I do up along Lake Superior can be totally different. 30 miles from me even, so yeah, I agree. Okay, well, let's wrap it up, and I want to thank you very much, Kamon, for
thank you so much for
sit down with me.
Coming and hanging out with me. We've had a lot of fun and lively conversations. I think your wife is tired of both of our shenanigans, so you probably better go take her out to dinner or something like that. And
I don't even see her around.
I know. Maybe she's RUNNOFT'd on you.
Sleeping on the couch again.
Have you ever heard that before?
What's that?
RUNNOFT'd on you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, run off.
Yeah.
So
I know exactly where that's from.
Yeah, me too. So, well, it's been great talking to you.
Oh, brother.
And so, oh, brother, that's right. Great music.
Okay. Well, again, thank you everybody for joining, and
we'll see you in the next video.
Well, okay, I'll see you. I don't know what you. Well, you'll see in your own videos.
Well, I might just watch this video, and then your next one.
That's scary.
Too. Yeah,
That's scary. You think I might get one more subscriber?
1.5 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. All right.
Thank you again. Do appreciate it. Thank you for watching this episode from Windy Ridge Apiaries. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on any newly posted videos. And at your discretion, please leave a comment below. And until next time, do a good day.